Welcome back everyone. Today we'll be moving ahead with session 2 of the week 7 of the course Retail Marketing Strategy. So as far as last session was concerned, I really hope that you can recollect what we have discussed. We discussed about the workforce planning, which was all about managing the demand and supply of workforce. In that we discussed about the facets of recruitment, in which we looked at the internal and external sources of recruitment, and we also analyzed the concepts of job description and job specification, which are a part of job analysis to an extent. Now as we are moving forward, we will be continuing with the same topic to understand the role of human resource management in retailing. So considering this module as well, we will be digging further into the role of human resource management in retailing, and we will also discuss the components of extra fodder for thought and learning something new. Now before we move further, I want to tell you one thing. See, whenever it comes to a part of recruitment which we understood as a process of attracting people to apply for jobs in the organization, do you know that there are companies like Ambition Box and Glassdoor which actually give a chance to people to post reviews about the organizations which they are working. Like in this case, you can see that there are around 95 reviews which are available for Reliance Smart Point. For some organizations, you can also have reviews which can even go beyond 1000 or in lakhs, right? Now, why this becomes important? See, many times whenever people will apply for jobs in the organization, they'll also be able to get a lot of information about what is the work culture of organization, how people are treated, what are the chances of career advancement, or the information which is being shared in job description, how much true that is, right? So now you can see how these companies are changing everything. If a company has very bad reviews, you might see people not applying for jobs in those organizations, and it is going to be extremely important when you are hiring people for very strategic roles. Even for positions which might not be very strategic, this is definitely going to have an impact. Just imagine if someone is having 2 offers, even when it comes to a retail sales profile, they are definitely going to check reviews and then decide where they should be going. So this is again one thing which I wanted you to understand. Now once the recruitment has been done, there are a lot of people who have applied for jobs in our organization. You definitely have to pick out the best from the lot who has applied, right? Now this becomes the selection process, which means the process of filtering out the most suitable ones from those who have applied for the job positions in our organization. This is also called as the process of selecting the most qualified applicants or positions from a pool of candidates who have applied for jobs in our organization. Now this is going to be the selection process, which gets to the facet of preliminary interview, selection test, employment interview, reference check, job offer, medical examination and joining. Now see, let's say 500 people applied for 10 positions in your organizations. It's not like you are going to call all of them for interview, right? So many times what could be done is you might have some additional checklist or criterias with which you will be filtering out some people. Now that can be on the basis of experience, that can be on the basis of the fact if they have been on similar profiles or not. All those things could be considered. Or many times a preliminary interview could also be taken by the junior HR people or someone in the organization who is considered suitable for that role. Their job is only to go for preliminary checks and just to make an analysis if the person is going to be suitable or not, right? Now in this case, these interviews are usually for a very short duration, and the objective is only to make sure if you are not going for candidates who are going to be a utter misfit even when their profile matches with the job description. So this is also done in many cases, and this will also help you to reduce the cost also, right? Just imagine calling 500 people for interviews, and even when you are reimbursing their travel expenses or even boarding expenses if they are coming from a different location, how much expensive this is going to be for you. Now once preliminary interview has been done and you think the other person is going to be suitable or appears to be suitable, you are going to organize a selection test. Now this could be about checking their specific skills, right? If you remember, we discussed the example of hiring someone for a retail analytics job. Now in this case, you might give them some problems or you might give them some data to handle to see if they are going to be good for this position or not. Now another example could be, let's say if you are hiring someone for a grievance redressal position, or in other words you can say someone who is going to handle the complaints of people. Now in that case, you can more specifically adopt a stress test just to see how they behave in situations of stress. If the person starts feeling agitated or is not able to handle the stress, then to an extent they might not be suitable for such positions, because many times when customers come, they are definitely going to behave in a different way if they have a grievances from the organization, or let's say if their product is not working or it did not work out well, or there is an issue which is related to refund. There could be many situations considering this. In this case, many times skills test or even aptitude test or interest test are also taken to make sure that the person is not only going to be suitable but also has an interest in the job. Now just imagine if a person is suitable and also has an interest in the job, how much benefits this can bring. Now once the selection test has been done and you have a list of people who have cleared the test, you call them for employment interview. Now in this case you have a panel who will be judging them. Now here also you can in ways kind of take interviews on the basis of stress, aptitude or situational interviews to make sure that they are suitable. Usually in this case, as I was telling you, have a panel who will be judging the prospective applicants on the basis of different skill set. Now once employment interview has been done and you have got the list of people who qualified for the interview, you proceed with reference checks, because usually what you do is, as a part of preliminary interview, you also give them a form to fill in which they provide information about their past jobs, let's say their specific skill sets, or why they want to leave their previous organization or join this one, right? So they are also asked to provide 2 references or 3 references, or many times could be 4 also, the people who can be contacted to get an idea about them. Let's say someone from their past organization to know how the person is, if there are no problems, and let's say they could be telling you some other reason with respect to leaving the job and actually it could be something else. So usually reference check are done to make sure that the person can be considered if the references provide a clearly positive impression of these people. Reference check is basically done to make sure that you are hiring the right people. You definitely would have found them suitable, but their references are also required to confirm regarding their conduct or that they have been ethical as far as their past organization behaviors are concerned. Once reference check is done, you definitely go ahead and provide them the job offer. Now once the job offer has been provided, it can also lead to further negotiations. You might offer some salary and the person might ask for something else. Even if you remember the job descriptions that we saw, it clearly mentioned that the annual package is going to be 3 to 6 lakhs or something, right? But someone who has higher experience could be willing to negotiate and ask for more. So many times after job offer that can also happen. Now once this is done, the people that you are going to finally consider, or the applicants which you are going to finally consider, are required to go for a medical examination before they join the job. Now in this case the objective is just to make sure that they are medically fit, and finally we go ahead with their joining processes, then leading to a part of induction and orientation programs as well. So as far as selection is concerned, I'll again sum up. The objective is to make sure that you are selecting the best candidates from the people who have applied for jobs, and this is called as a negative process because the objective is to filter out and arrive at the best ones, unlike recruitment, which is a positive process where the objective is to make sure that maximum number of people apply for the jobs, but definitely the ones who are at least or could be considered suitable. If there is a huge mismatch, then definitely recruitment is again going to be futile. Now you can connect the dots with respect to the fact why job descriptions are provided, so that only those people apply who are fit for the jobs which are being advertised. Now as we move further, the another thing which we need to understand as a part of the role of HRM in retailing is training and development, right? So let's look at this. In retail, human resource management is focused on improving the skills and competencies of employees. HRM creates and implements training programs to enhance customer service skills, sales methods, product understanding and other key competencies. Now just imagine you have got the right people who have joined your organization, but you might be required to enhance their skills with respect to the products which your organization wants to sell. Let's say this could be a technical product, so you are required to make sure that they know the product in and out. Just imagine they are dealing with customers in the retail establishment and they themselves don't know much about the product. Definitely it is going to be disastrous, and the trust is also going to be impacted as far as the trust between the organization and the prospective customers is concerned. They even might start doubting you. Definitely they will tell a lot of things to the staff also, considering their lack of knowledge about the product, but your whole dynamics of trust as far as the organization is concerned is also going to be negatively impacted. Now see, even if you look at training, it's not that trainings are always going to be just related to sales methods. Many times soft skills trainings are also provided to the retail employees to make sure that they interact with the customers in the best possible ways. They are courteous toward them, they know how to handle their grievances, they are also trained to handle customers who come in a very agitated manner. So specifically for these things soft skills are used. Along with that, I also gave you a perspective about product understanding and other key competencies as well. Many times, usually when induction trainings and orientation programs are conducted, the new joinees are also told about the policies of the organization. Let's say this could even be related to how much leaves they can take, what is the procedure for taking these leaves. If someone is in, let's say, retail sales, or they could be incurring some expenses, how they can claim those back from the organization. A lot of things are shared with respect to the policies of the organization. Now when you look at enhancing the skill sets as far as the current jobs are concerned, we call it training. But when the HRM also identifies and organizes career opportunities for employees to develop within the company, that is precisely called as development. So there is indeed a difference between training and development, which I just gave you a perspective about. Training is more focused on helping people do the current job more effectively, efficiently, whereas the development is more about making sure that they are able to move up the career ladder even in the present organization. So for that you really need to have different kinds of programs. Along with this, as far as training store employees is concerned, you also need to understand the facet of new versus old or existing employees. So as I was telling you, for new employees you might be conducting orientation or training programs, right, to introduce them to the organization, explain policies, work on their sales skill set, providing them soft skills training. But there could be many programs which could also be done for old and existing employees. Let's say if a retailer has come up with their own private labels or new products, for that trainings could be required. You could also be providing refresher trainings with respect to how customers can be handled well. Even soft skills training can also be provided to the existing employees. But one thing which you need to understand is, firstly, a training needs assessment should be done to understand what kind of training needs to be provided. Now let's say you might have a retail store where the sales are not picking up. You conducted some interviews, you realized that the retail sales people who are working in the store have very good knowledge about the products and they are very much able to handle the doubts of the customers. But you might realize that they don't have the soft skills, which means the feeling of pleasantness is not being created as far as the interactions between the staff and customers are concerned. Now this gives you an indication that there is a need for conducting soft skills training. So this is again one thing which you need to understand. Many times things could be completely perfect as far as your retail sales staff is concerned, but the problem could be with your products. The customers are coming but they are not buying simply because the competitor is offering them something which is very much a value offering and can be a best deal for the customers. Now in this case also you are getting the feedback that you need to come up with new products. But why you need to look at it from this perspective is because retail sales staff who are working in establishments are going to be a gold mine for even getting data with respect to these facets, which could be a lot more strategic. Along with this, you also need to understand that training programs could be off-the-job training, which are precisely done at different places, not at the retail establishments or the places where the jobs are actually executed. Now, this can take the form of a structured program or classroom training or through lecture methods. Precisely the objective is to make sure that new employees acquire the basic skills and knowledge to execute their jobs effectively. Apart from this, you could also have on-the-job training methods where employees are assigned jobs, given responsibilities and coached by their supervisors. In this case, they learn by doing. But you can also have a blended approach in which you are combining on-the-job and off-the-job training methods. Let's say you can have a few modules which are being done off the job, and then you are bringing the people, retail sales staff, into the actual retail establishment and where they are directly interacting with customers. See, but one thing which I want you to understand is in retail establishments or organizations per se, you are going to find different people. There could be some people who are doing back end operations, right, processing orders and doing other things. For them also trainings could be required. So your understanding of this should not only be limited to the people that you see in stores. Even back end operations people you need to understand. Let's say when it comes to processing orders, they might be required to learn some softwares, or people who are taking care of the inventory management in retail stores. For them, different kinds of trainings could be organized to make sure that they understand all the mechanics of inventory management, right? So I would urge you to think from these perspectives also. Now the next facet which you need to understand is about performance management. Let's say in the last stage you conducted or executed the best of training programs, but how will you know that they have been effective or not, right? So for that you really need to have a performance management system which is all about evaluating employee performance. But in this case what becomes important is that this should be done timely. Let's say if you are doing it after 1 year or you are not doing it on time, you are eventually losing out on the sales which could have been made, which actually indicates the facets of opportunity cost. If you have some people to whom, let's say in a retail establishment, sales methods training have been provided, you really need to see how much they have picked up or if actually sales targets are being achieved or not. Until unless you are evaluating, you might not be able to make out where the problem lies. So in this case, what becomes important is setting performance targets, and that should be communicated with clarity to the concerned people, conducting regular performance assessments, identifying the gaps or where the problem lies, right, and then providing feedback to employees. Now this many times also becomes a way out for understanding the different needs for trainings. You might realize that the training program which was conducted, let's say as a part of enhancing the skills of employees, may turn out to be not very effective, right? Then you need to see or identify the right gaps. And this also becomes important because HRM helps to attract and retain talent within the retail business by organizing and rewarding top performers. If you are not doing job assessment, you might not be able to differentiate between the top performers, average performers, or the worst performers, right? And if you are not doing this, and if you are not giving the due that actually belongs to the top performers, they might definitely shift to another organization or could be poached by your competitors as well. Along with this, employee engagement and retention also becomes important. So as far as retail sector is concerned, I was telling you that the churn rates are very high. These employees could be either moving to the competitors or could be moving to different industry. But everything said and done, you are only bearing the cost of hiring them, cost incurred on selecting them, the cost incurred on training them, the cost incurred on them considering the time for which they worked with you, right? So all this is definitely going to be very costly, right? So it becomes equally important that you are fostering a positive work environment and increasing employee engagement. So for this, retailers use various measures to improve employee satisfaction and reduce employee turnover, such as work-life balance policies, wellness initiatives, and definitely employee recognition initiatives. It also becomes important that you are resolving the employee grievances, encouraging communication, and also resolving conflicts within the company. Many times when grievances are not resolved, they are also going to have a blast one day, and you will see people, you might see even best of your employees moving out of your organization. Along with this, when conflicts are not resolved, they can actually be the biggest source of dissatisfaction, everything being good otherwise. So this is again one thing which becomes important. Now as far as employee engagement is concerned, I would definitely urge you to go back and Google about gamification and employee engagement. You will be definitely able to figure out the most fascinating findings as far as the application of gamification in employee engagement is concerned, and how much magical this can be as far as the retention perspectives are also concerned. So please go and find this out. Along with this, the human resource department also prepares the plans as far as compensation and benefits for employees are concerned. Now HRM ensures that the retail workforce is fairly compensated for their work. They design and administer compensation systems including wages, salaries, bonuses, and commission structures. Now this can be different for different levels, right? Now if you have hired a manager, you could be paying them a different salary. If you have hired a retail sales staff, you might be paying them different salary. So all this, what is going to be the compensation plans for different levels or different kinds of job classifications, it is all done by the human resource management. Along with this, see, HRM managers are also required to work very minutely upon the benefits which could be given to employees, because if you look at earlier times, mental wellness benefits were not included or work life balance was not given even that much importance. But in today's time, you cannot just miss out on that. It is equally important to attract and retain talent. So all these facets are also taken care of by the human resource management department. And finally, in this case, what you need to understand is the compliance and legal responsibilities. So as far as HRM is concerned, in retailing, they are required to ensure compliance with labor laws, regulations and industry standards. They are also required to stay updated with employment legislation and implement fair employment practices and manage employee relations issues. They are also required to handle disciplinary actions, investigations and resolve disputes to maintain a harmonious work environment. So as far as compliance and legal responsibilities are concerned, you need to check upon the perspectives of employee health and safety. You need to follow the government regulations to make sure that right kind of standards are being executed to assure safety and health to employees. You need to provide equal employment opportunity. There should not be any differentiation as far as genders, people from different caste, creed, color are concerned, vis-a-vis their considerations for jobs are concerned. Your compensation plans are also required to be aligned with government policies and Minimum Wages Act. You also need to have specific policies and a cell which will be taking care of the issues regarding sexual harassment. For this, you really need to have an internal complaints committee which will be taking care of this, and this definitely comes as a part of government regulations. You are also required to assure employees' privacy. So as far as compliance and legal responsibilities are concerned, you really need to look at this from these facets. Now we are again back with our two exciting elements, which is extra fodder for thought and learning something new. So as a part of extra fodder for thought, we'll be looking at the Koleston natural billboards. Now just have a look at this. This is a hair color brand, and what they were doing was they were using the different times of the day to indicate the products which were available. This clever billboard makes genius use of its natural surroundings. Just have a look at this. They are using the different times of the day, evening, sunset or the night time, to indicate the colors which are being offered by the brand. So you can imagine how creative this particular organization has been in designing the billboards. Otherwise, what you see is very generic or very common, but this became a talking point for a lot of people. So now we'll be learning about Decibels. This is a special campaign by Ikea, and the whole objective was to make sure that the specially abled can also be offered some products which will help them do their course very effectively. So we'll be doing one thing, we'll be looking at these two videos to understand this magical initiative by Ikea. So please have a look at this, and if you have any comments to share, we'll be happy to read them in the forum section.
Hi, I'm Eldar, 32 years old. Although I have cerebral palsy, I do everything I can to conduct myself like everyone else. But in my own home, of all places, I'm surrounded with furniture crying out, cripple. I'd like to sit on a regular sofa, without being afraid I won't be able to get up, to open a regular closet, or even to turn on a regular lamp.
1 in every 10 people in Israel is a disabled person. The IKEA design vision gave birth to the Thisables project. Smart hacks making IKEA's best-selling items accessible. The project was created in collaboration with 2 NGOs, Milbot and Access Israel, and started off in the IKEA store with a hackathon of product engineers and disabled people that enabled better understanding of their needs. In the end of the developing process, 13 new products were born, each solving a different accessibility issue, such as sofa elevating legs for easier ascending, lamp button enlargement, special handles for PAX closets, and more. The new products are presented in the world's first accessible living spaces in the IKEA stores. The new models are available for download from the project's website, Decibels.com, and 3D printing anywhere in the world. So that Eldar, Dina, Pavel, Inbal, Moshe, Tahel, and Liel can also feel comfortable in their own homes like everybody else.
Now they should come up with products that assemble themselves.
Medical documents.
I really hope that you enjoyed looking at these videos. This was specifically covered by a lot of media houses also. So if you look at the strategy story, they have clearly written Ikea Decibels campaign reaching the unreached. Right. Now we get to the final section of this particular session, which is learning something new. So today we'll be learning about the Cashwrap in retail. So Cashwrap is precisely a retail store's checkout area. It can also be called as a place where checkout counters are placed. In other words, here is where customers go to make their payment for their purchases. So checkout in ways also indicates when you will be moving out of the stores. So that's where Cashwrap in retail usually happens. The places where you can actually make payments for your product and then you can eventually move out. But another thing which you need to understand is Cashwrap is a wonderful spot to increase sales through cheap add-ons and to push impulsive purchases. You can have a look at this quote which has been given by M. Cohen, Professor of Retail and Operations Management at McGill University. A good Cashwrap should incentivize impulsive purchases without being pushy. It should include products specifically targeted for the type of customers coming to the store. So you really need to look at the concept of a Cashwrap beyond its meaning and how this space can be effectively utilized for promoting impulse purchases. So thanking you for now, looking forward to meeting you in the next session where we'll be discussing a lot more exciting things about the world of retailing. Thank you.